Hey guys, today we're working on binding. We've got a 2.5-inch strip of fabric that we're using for the binding. We've taken it and we've folded it in half, and then we've ironed it. So we've got a nice solid crease all the way down it. Then we've taken it and pinned it and left maybe a 3 or 4 inch piece pinned on it, but not sewn down. And then we started sewing. So we've sewn it some around the corner, around the side of the quilt. We go all the way to the corner with our 1/4 inch seam. And this is just like everything else I tell you. There's 10 different ways to do it. 10 different people do it 10 different ways. So you find the way you like it and do it that way. But this step here is what a lot of people do different. Get to the end, back stitch it in. Some people here will pull this out and then do the next step without cutting this thread. I don't do it that way. I cut the thread because to me it's easier. Then I take it and I take this, let me see if you can get a better look of it. Take this corner right here, take this piece of fabric and put it a 90-degree angle. So you've got it like that. Then hold that in place and flip it backwards. So now you've got it like that. Let me do it again so you can see what I'm talking about. You've got it this way. Turn it at a 90-degree turn. Hold it in place at the corner of the quilt. Flip it backwards. Press it down with your finger. And now you've got it. You're going to do that on each corner. Then you're going to put it back under the machine, stitch it a couple times before moving it, and then go on through that all the way down that side of the quilt, and then we'll come back. Okay, we've made it to the other end of the quilt, the other corner, and we're still sewing our 1/4 inch seam. And I'm going to show you again what we just did, so to make sure you don't miss it. Get to the end, back stitch it in a few times, stop it, cut the thread. Again, you don't have to if you don't want to. I just prefer to. Take it. You've got the binding dangling down. Take it up at a 90-degree turn, like that. Hold it here, flip it back, and you've got that nice crease at the corner. Hope you can see that. Then you're going to sew this side down. You're going to hold it in place and lock that stitch in and get to sewing this 1/4 inch seam. And then we'll meet back at the end of this edge of the quilt. Okay, we're to the end of our quilt. Here's where our starting tab was that we didn't sew down, the very top part of it on purpose. And here's the ending binding where I've still got a lot of excess binding. I did that on purpose though, because I use it for the next one I have a black one for. So then we're going to take just a small clipping of binding that's the same width of what we're using, which this is 2.5 inches. And we're going to take it and lay it right sideways right on the edge of this piece. So there's your piece. Here's your binding. You're laying your piece sideways, and that shows a 2.5 inch piece. You're going to take this binding and lay it on top and cut it where that other piece that we just laid sideways ended. So now you've cut it. And you should have now a 2.5 overlay of the first piece to the last piece. Then you're going to take a pin into your quilt and just pin it up so it's not pulling. Pin it up anywhere. I'm going to take this piece that we started with and this piece that we ended with, put them right sides together. Let me pin right here better. right sides together. Pin them at a 45-degree angle. Place them at a 45-degree angle. Pin it, and then sew a diagonal line from one corner to the other corner. It's usually not this difficult, but I had pinned mine a little bit too close. I had sewn mine a little too tight at the beginning. I didn't leave a long enough piece. So just know for future reference, leave a little bit longer than I did that time. Usually works perfect. Then you're going to cut that excess outside of the seam away. You're going to take that pin back out, and you got perfect binding right there, already done. And then you sew the rest that you hadn't sewn down yet because you were making it. And there you have your binding. Then you're gonna see how it's perfect all the way down. Then you're gonna flip your quilt around, and you're gonna take the other side, flip this side over, and then you're gonna start stitching the front side of your binding all the way around, and there you have binding. Okay, we're back, still working on the binding on the top this time. When we left you last a few minutes ago, we were just starting this seam down the front side of the quilt. And now we've gotten to, we just did the 1/4 inch seam all the way down the side. We've gotten to the end of the quilt, and we're gonna do the corner. So we're gonna fold it down like that, sew to the end, take this, lay it flat. This side should be unfolded, laid flat. You just fold it up. So now you've got a perfect seam in that corner. You're going to take your needle, leave it down, lift your foot up, rotate the quilt, fold that side down, put your foot back down, and start sewing that side. You're going to do that on all 4 corners till you get to the end, and your binding's done.